it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studio Lou. Today is, I think, 1 month of being in the house. So I'm working on a series of fiber and textile arts related journals right now. There are 6 in the series, and so I've just been kind of puttering along working on those. So I finished one today, which is this book, which I hope to just do a little walkthrough. I forget the title of this book. I'll probably get to it inside because I did use some artifacts from the book. But I got this book because it wasn't even a super old book, but I just really liked this cover design. So I ended up going with it because I thought it would lend itself nicely to textile and fiber art design sort of themes. So I basically have inked this book in a nice green. The original color was gray with this gold imprinting, and then I covered and secured the spine with some really nice silk, and this is a beautiful old piece of embroidered flower applique. And then on the spine, I did the regular pamphlet stitch binding, and I threaded these little bronze leafy type beads. And then there's a couple of little sort of hang downs that can be used for bookmarking. And they are made from vintage buttons. And these are little measuring tape beads that I used to make all the time as part of my fiber arts stuff that I do. So they're kind of cute. And I have one of these posts to close the whole book. It's a bit of a fat guy, so. And then on the back is this vintage button holding this closed. So you pop it open with this elastic and then just go to the back, and you can just, when you're not using it, just kind of loop it over the button so it stays put. Okay, let's get started. And today I have to make sure I'm in frame and the light's not too crazy. That's a little better. So it was made from A Dance with Dragons, a book by George R.R. Martin. So throughout this book, you'll see a few kind of homages to the book itself, but the theme of these books, like I said, are textile and fiber art. So they cover things like sewing, felting, knitting, spinning, weaving, garments, all sorts of kind of textile and fiber art things. So inside this pocket in the front, there's a note from me, the bookmaker, about my journals. And this is just a nice big journaling writing board, kind of journal card. And on the top, you'll see it has a large piece of blue felt that is handmade felting that I've done, wet felting. Has some sheep's locks in it. It's actually really interesting. The back is shibori silk felted. And then on this side we have a pocket with some sewing illustration, and inside is a large journaling tag, or I guess card, because I haven't formed it into a tag. Some coffee, dyed paper, and watercolor. And then over here, some textile imagery of a fish. And this opens up, and it's some speckly coffee dyed paper. And then this is a vintage sewing pattern. The instructions on how to cut the pattern. And over here, it's been made into a pocket tuck, and this is one of the cards that was made out of the book itself. So this is like one of the book plates. Each chapter of this book had sort of a map. I think that was a big part of the story itself, was something to do with different territories. It's not a book that I've read, so I apologize to the George R.R. Martin fans out there. And this is just an image of a bunch of really beautiful textiles and flowers. And some nice handmade printed paper. And this is a pocket, and I've sewn a really beautiful piece of embroidered flowers on the front, and it has this cool journal tag inside. These ladies. And some stamping over here, and a little piece of 70s weaving, vintage textile and fiber art kind of stuff. Throughout this whole series of books, you're going to see a lot of this because I inherited the estate of a woman who was like the president of Spinning and Weaving Guild here in Toronto, and she had incredible artifacts from the guild, including all of their old newsletters, samples, all sorts of things. So I inherited her loom, a couple of them actually, as well as these samples and documents. So I will be using a bit of them in some of these journals. And just some nice imagery and lace and writing space. And then just a bit of like 70s kind of imagery. I did use some books from the 70s to create these journals. I love the vintage imagery of old textiles. And this is like a double pocket. So the back, or sorry, the front is fabric. It has a little journaling card inside that has imagery, I think about setting a knitting or a sewing pattern. And in here we have a journaling tag that's been collaged. And over here is a cute image of like a bunny, and under here some, these were embroidery patterns for the alphabet. And this comes off. It's actually a little wrap-around journaling, double journaling card. So if you remove it, I put a vintage button on a clip here, and you can actually remove the whole thing. And this is fabric paper, so you can write right on this fabric. So that just tucks on there. It's a big journaling card. And I secure it with this vintage bouquet button. And a silver doily. And over here we have a pocket with a big journal card, coffee dyed paper on the back, and it's on some vintage sewing pattern paper. And on this side there's a tuck with a couple of journal cards. This is actually a flip open one that has avocado dyed paper inside, and it's made on a thick pattern paper. And this one is another textile image of a swan and some nice ribbon at the bottom. And those just both tuck away in this area. And then over here again, another tuck. This is avocado paper, and on top of it is this journaling booklet. And on this side of the paper, we have a little picture of a needle and thread. So this just tucks right on here. And then you can secure it with this paper clip that has a vintage button. Little floral white vintage button. And then this is more avocado paper. And this just flips over to both sides. And over here we have a vintage butterick sewing instruction, and inside is another journal card that was made from the book, so another map picture, and it's been sewn all around and has this vintage image of a woman. And a nice big pocket with a really big journal card. And just some more textile images and patterning. And over here is a piece of handmade silk shibori felt that I made. It's a really interesting, fun technique. So it's just a flip up kind of decorative piece that is on top of some handmade paper you can write on. And it's a really cool technique. So for people who followed me for years, my Studio Lou website and my business. So primarily I'm a fiber artist, and I do a lot of hand spinning and felting. So this is taking a silk scarf and wet felting fine wool on the back. So what happens on the silk side is it gets all wrinkly and beautiful, and you see these are flowers, and so the image changes a bit and it shrinks down and kind of makes the silk gets all shirred up on the felt, and then the back, the wool just turns into a really soft, beautiful felt. On this side, we have a pocket that's been made out of an image that looks like a zipper. And this has a journal tag inside. And actually, you can use this little thing to tuck something tiny into as well, like a little journal card. And then just some inky paper to write on. And some more textile images. And on this side, this is a vintage Butterick 70s sewing pattern pocket. And inside of it is a big journaling tag to write on. Oh, and something else in here. A couple surprises. And another big journaling tag with a bunch of images of patterns to cut out to make a dress. So let's just tuck in there. And then some graph paper that's been sewn on this side, some fabric. More pattern paper and some little Matryoshka dolls. And just a gold certificate paper and watercolor paper and just a little bookmark that's been made out of some sewing images for buttonholes. And now we're on to the second of 3 signatures. So this is a diagonal belly band, and inside of it we have this little booklet. It's been tied closed with a silk ribbon, and it's a large journaling card with all knitting imagery. And then a little, another journaling card that's a cute little crochet image of a little motif, a little flower that's been crocheted. And some pretty paper. And this is sewing pattern paper. And this is actually a beautiful crocheted starched snowflake design that is made from cotton, and it's been glued down on top of a Brazilian blueprint, crochet blueprint paper. Throughout the whole series, I'll be sharing a lot of this kind of paper. I was very lucky to get several crochet blueprints from a large package of just Brazilian crochet documents that I came across in a thrift store. And this is paper dolls. And over here we have a pocket and a journal tag inside with some really, really cute collar sewn images. It's on top of coffee dyed paper with rose images. Oops. Tuck, tuck, tuck. There we go. And this is just a little fabric tuck for this cute journal card with a cat on a bicycle. And that's been sewn on. It has a really nice feel to it. These books are very textural, and they feel really nice to flip through. And this is more of the crochet blueprint. And this is just a little pocket that looks like a pocket, and it has this little journal tag inside. And some stamping. And this is a really cute image from the 70s from a craft book, and it's a flip, and you can write on the inside, and there's a journal tag inside as well with some French craft book imagery. And over here we have a fabric pocket, and inside it is another journaling card that was made from the book itself, another map image with a woman crocheting a blanket on the front. And this is a little tuck area, this beautiful pattern. And inside is a journal card that has like a lace doily, and this is an applique of a flower that's been attached. This is more sewing paper, sewing pattern paper, and more of the crochet blueprints. And this is really beautiful paper. So it's a vellum paper that has been embossed with button imagery. It's very textural. It's actually like a risen up texture. And inside is another journal card from the book and another journal card from some really cool imagery from a 70s craft book. And over here we have some fabric paper. So this paper is fabric on one side and basically feels like faux leather on the other. And I've stripped some of it to give it interesting texture. So this is paper that's been immersed or attached to, glued to fabric and entirely immersed in a glue so that it's easy to write on. It has a really nice feel to it. And this is Easter egg dyed paper and more crochet blueprint. And here's a belly band with some nice like different imagery from a 70s book, and it has 2 journal cards inside. Oops, let me just tuck in there. In the center of the second signature, some painted surface to write on. It's been lined with some really pretty ribbon. And over here we just have this little card that goes in this little piece of lace. It just acts like a little bit of a tuck. And then this is just a loose flip over lined paper card that has some imagery from sewing a skirt on top of coffee dyed paper. On the other side is more of the fabric paper. And then we have another of the button vellum. And inside of it, there's a sewn pocket that has this little journal tag that slips right in there. And then just some fabric on, this is 2 different kinds of pattern paper. And then over here we have another fabric pocket, and inside are some cool journaling cards. This is some stamping on the back, and this is an image of 2 women from a 70s craft book that have been turned into a journal card, and another journal card made from the book. And on this side we have a tuck that's been made with some vintage imagery, and inside are 2 really nice journal cards from a day that I just sat down and made some really nice thick butcher paper on the back, or brown paper bag on the back, so they're really heavy. And this one has some beautiful like Indian sari embroidery, and this one has I forget the name of the fabric, but it's very like old kind of pottery, and it was a bunch of cats sort of in a country setting, and so these have a really nice feel to them. They'd be very nice to write on. And then some stamping. And just some imagery and some pineapples on a napkin that have been decoupaged down. This is an envelope, and inside of it is a journal card. But you could tuck other things in here if you want to. Some pretty scrapbook paper. And then inside this little area between the 2 signatures, I made these little booklets with some felt, silk and wool felt. And they just have lined paper inside, just some random kind of paper scraps to write on. And this is more fabric paper, so one side's paper and one side's fabric that you can write on or glue things to. And this is more of that blueprint. I left the original price on it, $3.55. And then over here is some pattern paper to sew a dress. And this is some silk that's been felted on with wool. And over here is some coffee dyed paper that has like an index kind of on it. It's from a book, and this is yarn that's been sort of ripple sewn onto the side. And some children's writing paper. And over here we have a fabric flip and just some vintage imagery. More vintage book page. And a little folder. And here we have a pocket that has a beautiful hand crocheted starched piece of crochet, and inside is a journal tag with coffee dyed paper on the back. And then just some fabric. There's some stamping here. Hopefully it shows up in this light. And over here is a sample from, again, the 70s Weaving Guild artifacts. And I made a pocket out of it to hold this big journaling tag that has fabric sewn to it. And this is coffee dyed paper with my hand spun yarn that's been sewn down all around it as a border. And this is more coffee dyed paper. And this is a little waist belt type pocket. So this is a little booklet that pulls out. You could also untie this if you wanted to, but it's loose enough that you don't have to. And then this is really fun. So throughout this series, I'm including one of these in each of my journals. So this is from June 1976. It is from the Ontario Hand Weavers and Spinners Guild, and they used to send out these newsletters. So I thought this was a really fun glimpse into what was going on in the 70s and like the fiber and textile world, or in this case, hand weaving and spinning. So it's pretty cool. It talks about sort of all of their events that they were doing. And it has advertising for a lot of businesses that actually don't even exist anymore. It talks about people's projects that they're working on. It has a lot of instructional information and tips on weaving and spinning. It talks about different just things that were going on for the people who were in the guild, like trips that they'd taken and places that they visited relating to the fiber arts while they were on vacation. It talks about the other guilds, local news, events like their seminar, which is actually still goes on today, the seminar, the Five County seminar. And then just kind of like other organizational things, recycling, raising Angora rabbits, the spinning wheel factory, Milton, Ontario. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore, but I wish it did. That sounds really fun. And some finishing techniques for finishing things. And then on the back of all of these booklets, there would always be a woven sample. And that was really cool. And then just more vintage imagery. Some children's writing paper. Some nice purple silk fabric. The color's incredible. I'm not sure if it picks up on in this light. The light's a little weird today. It's kind of a rainy day. And then this is some handmade paper that has a really beautiful texture. More crochet blueprint and some more fabric paper. And then at the back of the book, I've got this large pocket here, and you'll see the eyelet for the closure. So you could tuck all sorts of things inside here if you wanted to. I just left it empty in case you wanted to stick something in there yourself. So then again, that's the back. There's the button. You just unfurl it and bring it back to the front and pop it on that little knob, and you have a journal. So I'm hanging out with these little sheep guys today. I have a really cute collection of Japanese and otherwise handmade little sheep. So I thought that they would be little friends to hang out with today while I'm doing this video. So hopefully they help to make your day brighter. Like, look at this one's face. It's ridiculous. It's so cute. This is an old English sheep. I forget the name of it, but these are actually antique, and they're actually, they have a lot of worth to them. I don't know. I don't sell them. I just keep them because they're sheep and they're so cute. So anyhow, I hope you're having a decent long weekend. I know for many people it's several different religious holidays this weekend, so I'm certainly happy to have the long weekend. I wish I was outside somewhere, maybe in the woods or going thrifting or doing something fun, but I'm safe at home and that's what matters. Hopefully we're through this all soon, and I wish everyone a lot of health, and I hope you can stay creative. I'm working on researching for a series of videos that I'm going to be doing, so I'm hoping to maybe get that done so that I can put one of the videos out by next week. I know I've only been making like journal walkthrough videos, and that's kind of sort of limited content, but I do plan to be doing a lot more with this channel as time allows me to. So anyhow, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and check out the description box of my video for my social media, my second channel, and any other information. And yeah, subscribe. Thanks.